Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Jeffrey?
Present.
Brubaker?
Here.
Kimmons?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Are there any corrections to tonight's agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda for this evening's meeting?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving to the minutes from the last meeting, they're posted in everyone's packet. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes from the last meeting? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to communication requests, information items. Number 2, presentation from Williams Keepers, LLC. It's got an S, doesn't it? It's not Williams. Yeah, okay, I got it.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Amanda Schultz. I'm an audit partner at Williams Keepers in Columbia. Joining me tonight is Mercedes Kendall. She's one of our audit seniors, and she was the in charge on the city's audit again this year. So we're just going to be going through our summary report. It hits the highlights of the individual reports that we issued as a result of our audit of the city's financial statements as of the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2022. Do you all have an electronic copy of this in front of you by chance?
Mm-hmm. Not electronic. We got a paper copy.
Have the bound copy? Okay. All right. So the first report is the annual financial report. This includes the city's audited financial statements as well as our reports on those financial statements. We issued an unmodified or a clean opinion on the financial statements, which means that in our opinion, they are presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with the modified cash basis of accounting. I did want to note, if you had a chance to take a look at our independent auditor's report or that opinion letter, it does look significantly different this year. We are following new professional standards, so it really just changed the layout of the letter. It's the opinion first. It's still an unmodified or a clean opinion. And the rest of the letter really just clearly defines and separates management's responsibility for the financial statements from our responsibility as your auditors of those financial statements. Management, one of those responsibilities is for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. We did prepare them again this year. It's a common practice for us as independent auditors to do so, but they were reviewed and approved by management before they were issued last month. We used our judgment determining how to audit the city again this year, so we only focused our attention on areas where the financial statements could be misstated. So again, that means we don't audit every balance or every transaction, but do enough work in order to be able to give that clean or unmodified opinion on financial statements. On page 2 of the summary report, there are a few tables that summarize the highlights from the governmental funds financial statements as of and for the years ended June 30th, 2022, with comparative information for 2021. So again, this page is just a summary of the governmental funds financial statements, and at a very high level, total assets increased by $2.9 million. That's due to significant ARPA grant funding that the city received during the year, but didn't spend by the end of the year. Total liabilities increased by about $246,000. That's due to an increase in interfund payables, primarily to the city's utility funds. Total revenues increased by $2.2 million, primarily due to that significant grant funding that was received. Total expenditures increased by $3.6 million due to the airport project, which was funded by grants received during the year. And total other financing sources decreased by a little over $1 million because there was significant debt proceeds that were received in the prior year. Moving on to page 3, the tables that are on this page summarize the highlights from the proprietary funds financial statements, or primarily the city's utility funds. Again, as of and for the years ended June 30th, 2022, with comparative information for 2021. Again, at a high level, total assets increased by $351,000 due to an increase in cash and cash equivalents, and total liabilities were stable. They only increased by about $14,000. Total revenues increased by $270,000 due to increases in utility rates and contribution rates for the city's health trust fund, which is an internal service fund for the city. Total operating expenses decreased by a little over $2 million due to a decrease in capital outlay during the year. It's just dependent on the projects that are going on in any given year within those utility funds. And total non-operating revenues decreased by $2.4 million due to additional debt proceeds that were received during the prior year. Moving on to the next page of the summary report, the city had a single audit that was required and performed again this year. That's whenever you incur federal expenditures in excess of $750,000. So it's an extra audit. We issue additional reports. The city had federal expenditures of about $4.8 million during fiscal year 22. There is a schedule of expenditures of federal awards included in the audit report that kind of details out all the expenditures by individual programs. The two reports that we issue are included in the audited financial statements as well. One is on internal control and compliance related to financial reporting. It reported no material weaknesses and no instances of non-compliance. That's a clean report. And the report on internal control and compliance related to major federal programs had an unmodified or a clean opinion on compliance and no findings. So the single audit is clean again this year. We also issued an auditor's communication letter as a result of our audit. We do each year because this letter includes comments about the audit process and its results that we are required by our professional standards to communicate to the governing board of an auditee, and for the city and the mayor and its council serve that role. So just a few quick highlights. We didn't note any transactions that we considered both unusual and significant. We did evaluate the estimates affecting the financial statements. We also evaluated the disclosures in the financial statements to make sure they were all included. We found the accounting records to be in good order, but we did propose a few audit adjustments as a result of our procedures. It's pretty typical for us each year. And last but not least, we had no disagreements with management on accounting or auditing issues, no difficulties in performing our audit, and certainly felt like we received cooperation from everyone that we worked with. So Brian, Greg, and their teams were prepared for us. We certainly appreciate their cooperation in facilitating another smooth audit. We also issued a management letter. The scope of our audit engagement was not to provide an opinion on internal control. It was to provide an opinion on those financial statements that I just covered. But we do consider internal control as a basis for designing our audit procedures. And if we have any findings or recommendations, we would include them in that management letter. Based on the limited procedures we performed, our letter basically states that we didn't identify any material weaknesses in the city's internal controls. But we did include a few recommendations that are really just opportunities for the city to enhance its internal control. So best practice type recommendations, certainly not material weaknesses, also not significant deficiencies, but just things that we'd like the city to consider implementing in their internal control going forward. And those are related to the city's purchasing policy, access to the accounting software, which I believe has already been taken care of with the implementation of the new system, information technology, and interfund balances. So again, just best practice type recommendations that are pretty typical for a city of this size. Last but not least, I don't think this is included in your printed materials, but we also issued a report for MIRMA. MIRMA requires an annual audit of their schedule of payroll that's reportable to them, and that's based on a calendar year. So we performed that audit as well and issued an unmodified or a clean opinion on that schedule. So I feel like I flew by that or flew through that. Do you guys have any questions about this summary report specifically? Any questions about the audit in general? Anything I can answer?
Mr. Brubaker.
I just have one question. When you were talking about recommendations, as I can't remember exactly each one, but when you listed those recommendations, had they been suggested in the past?
3 of them had been. Our only current year recommendation was related to the city's purchasing policy. But the continuing recommendations that we've had in there for a little bit of time now were access to the accounting software. And that's one that really was a system limitation with the city's old software. It really couldn't restrict a lot of access or user access rights. But I do believe that's been resolved with the new system that the city converted to in November.
Good.
Yeah. And then information technology, that's been in there for a few years. It's just related to really formalizing, documenting, and communicating some policies related to IT, specifically including password type policies. And then the third one that's been continuing is related to interfund balances. There are just some kind of like borrowing accounts between some of the city's funds that haven't really cleared out in several years. So we just recommend that the city at least take a look at those and consider transferring money to clear those out, or just do a little bit more to monitor those balances.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Kimmons.
Yes, I just want to clarify something. It seems to me that we've had a problem with access to the accounting and whatever, but it was related to our older system. And if I understand correctly, Casile, or I'm not saying that right, but that should correct that and allow you to measure who can get in and get out of those numbers?
Yes, those controls are much more robust than the legacy software that we came from. So that's already been implemented. We actually had it tested, a few times by some staff members trying to get places where they didn't need to be. So it's working.
Thank you.
So we'll take a look at those rights during next year's audit, and that'll likely be a recommendation that was implemented that we'll note in next year's management letter.
Good.
And that was for period ending July
30th.
June 30th,
of 2022. Yeah.
22. Right.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone else? Do you need a vote of acceptance on this? No. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I coughed
Thank you.
through
Appreciate your
your
time.
report.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, so next up, we'll move to receipt of bids for asbestos inspection and abatement.
As you recall from last meeting, we received 2 bids, and working through the process of how we utilize the asbestos contractors on a typical house that we would have as far as square footage or number of samples, Aaron calculated a few houses and determined that Wiedemann bids were the cheapest for us as far as what we typically see as far as on our house demolitions, and so we're recommending the bid of Wiedemann.
All right, questions, anyone? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
The opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Moving on to ordinances and resolutions. Number 4, an ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I have an ordinance imposing a sales tax at a rate of 3% on all tangible personal property retail sales of adult use marijuana sold within the city of Moberly, Missouri. Ask be read for consideration.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
The opposed? First reading.
An ordinance imposing a sales tax at a rate of 3% on all tangible personal property retail sales of adult use marijuana sold within the city of Moberly, Missouri, pursuant to Article 14, Section 2.6 of the Missouri Constitution, subject to the approval by the voters of the city at the general municipal election to be held on April 4, 2023, and designating the form of ballot and directing the city clerk to provide notice of said election.
All right, for the first reading, any discussion? Hearing none, second reading.
An ordinance imposing a sales tax at a rate of 3% on all tangible personal property retail sales of adult use marijuana sold within the city of Moberly, Missouri, pursuant to Article 14, Section 2.6 of the Missouri Constitution, subject to the approval by the voters of the city at the general municipal election to be held on April 4, 2023, designating the form of ballot and directing the city clerk to provide notice of said election.
All right, you've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Is there any further discussion?
I had a question.
Mr. Brubaker.
Randall, would this also be on the medical marijuana? Or is this just recreational?
The election only applies to recreational. The sales tax will be on retail sales of all marijuana.
Okay.
And so, it's a 3% sales tax.
Right. Okay.
Because most of the people with their licenses are going to have combined licenses. So they're going to be selling both medical and recreational.
All right, anyone else? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Lucas.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries and the ordinance is passed. Moving on to number 5, a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution accepting the bid and authorizing contracting with Wiedemann Dozing LLC for asbestos inspections and abatement for year 2023. That's where it to be read for consideration.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
The opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution accepting the bid and authorizing contracting with Wiedemann Dozing LLC for asbestos inspections and abatement for 2023.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. Moving on to number 6, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution approving a construction agreement with Willis Brothers, Inc. for the Sturgeon and Rollins water main replacement, and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. I ask that you read once consideration of passage.
All right, you heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution approving a construction agreement with Willis Brothers, Inc. for the Sturgeon and Rollins water main replacement and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. Moving on to number 7, a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution recording the destruction of certain local government records. Ask it to be read once for consideration of passage.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution recording the destruction of certain local government records.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. Moving on to number 8, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I have a resolution repealing Resolution R826 and adopting new hiring and retention policies. Has to be read for consideration.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution repealing Resolution R826 and adopting new hiring and retention policies for the Moberly Police Department.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The resolution is passed. Moving to number 9, a resolution of appropriation.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $486,831.09. That's for it to be read for consideration.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $486,831.09.
I hereby certify that there is sufficient money standing to the credit of the city of Moberly, Missouri, unappropriated in the several funds covered by this resolution to meet the requirements of this resolution submitted. Gregory L. Hodge, City Treasurer, City of Moberly. Any further discussion of the resolution? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries and the resolution is passed. Is there anything else to come in front of the council? Hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn to work session followed by closed session. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Lucas.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. So we are adjourned from the regular session of Moberly City Council, and we will move on to the work session and call the work session to order using the agenda for the work session this evening. And on the agenda, number 1 is resolution of the City of Moberly for authorizing application for a grant through the Emergency Management Performance Grant Direct Assistance Program. Chief Ryan.
Still life. Yeah, this is just a grant that came to us. It's what they call a mini grant through funding through the state that we applied for, and we're looking to try to replace some fire nozzles and fire hoses that are either out of date, life expectancy has gone by wayside, or they're just becoming too hard to replace and repair. So it doesn't cost the city anything when it comes down to financial. It's all basically 100% match. So.
All right. Questions, anyone?
I will say that the numbers I gave Brian, there's a couple wrong. They're actually less, but right now the grant application, we're looking at 33,000 is what I'm asking. You can take a look at the numbers and see which way we're going to go, looking to go.
Okay. All right. Hearing no questions, anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right. That'll move forward to the next regular meeting. And we'll move on to item 2, discussion of Bartlett and West task orders for Morley Street and Gratz Brown sidewalk projects.
So, as you know, we recently received a TAP grant for EE sidewalks, and as that round of funding had money left over in it, MoDOT has reissued a call for more grant projects on the TAP program. Those are around $500,000 is the max on those. We know those are an 80-20 match, and we've done several of those. We've had good success in the past where we've had a master plan that shows where we're connecting one point, like our parks and the schools and downtown, and then try to do that. What I'm asking them to put together here is we've completed the the west side of Morley Street in the past with some cost share funds, and so this would be looking at doing the west side or east side of Morley Street from Coach Street out to 24 and catch those other 2 islands out there that we're not done, that intersection, and do that in phases. And then also Gratz Brown, we looked at in the past. I think it's time to relook at that again with all the traffic and pedestrians on that from EE to McKenzie, and decide on which side of the street would be the best use for the utilities and the layout of traffic, and find a pattern there, and then break that down again into $500,000 or less bites so we can do those in phases and submit those to the TAP program. So the reason it's on there tonight for discussion is so we can have it back by the 17th. This next round was kind of a short-term call, and so it's due January 29th for the next round of TAP applications. And so what I'd like to look at, if you're agreeable with this, and they put this together, is first one being the north end of North Morley up there, and include those last 2 islands. We did 2 with that last project. The 2 north ones were pretty rough. I'd like to get those included and do a phase of sidewalk down that west side to kind of come back and tie back in to where the existing sidewalk currently ends around just south of Moberly Motors. So, but I need to have this work right here. We'll lay it all out where the sidewalk should be, give us all the information we need for this coming grant application and future ones.
I had a question. When you were talking about Moberly Motors, you were saying the west side?
East side, pardon me.
Okay.
Yeah. We've completed the west side, and so I was just getting those.
That's what I was thinking.
West side's all been done. This would be just the east side and break it down in components. The cost share, we had a lot bigger pool of money to work out of.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Anyone else? Anyone opposed to moving that forward to the next regular council meeting? Hearing none, that will move forward to the next meeting. Is there anything else to come in front of the council for the work session? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And motion is seconded. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We're adjourned.